Don't wait for the perfect moment. Take the moment and make it perfect. These are words you've probably heard before, but today, I want you to really think about them. How many times have you said to yourself, one day, I'll do this, or one day, I'll get started? The truth is, one day is a myth. It's an idea that keeps you in limbo, never really moving forward, always waiting for a better time. What if I told you the perfect time to start is right now? That's right. Today is the day that changes everything. The truth is, the only difference between where you are now and where you want to be is the decision to act. No more waiting. No more one day. Because one day doesn't exist. In the next few minutes, we're going to shift your entire perspective. We're going to talk about what it takes to make today your day one, the day you stop talking about the future and start creating it. We'll dive deep into how small actions today create big results tomorrow. You've been putting it off long enough, haven't you? The goals, the dreams, the plans, they're all within reach, but they won't be if you keep waiting for one day. It's time to take charge of your own destiny, and today is the day to make it happen. Get ready, because we're about to unlock the secret to making this your day one, the day that changes everything. Let's dive in. Number one, your future self is begging you to start now. Your life is happening right now. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. And if you don't take control of it today, you will look back years from now and regret every single day you wasted. That's the truth. No sugarcoating, no excuses, just reality. Because every single day you delay, you're stealing from your future self. The person you dream of becoming, the life you want to live. It's not going to magically appear. It won't happen just because you wish for it. It happens when you make the decision to stop waiting and start moving. It happens when you say, enough is enough. Today is the day I begin. But that's where most people get stuck. They think about changing, they talk about it, they even make plans. But when it comes to taking action, they freeze. They tell themselves, I'm not ready yet. I need more time. I'll start when the conditions are right. And that is the biggest lie they believe. Because the conditions will never be perfect. The right time will never come. If you keep waiting, you'll keep waiting for the rest of your life. Look at your life right now. Where are you? Are you happy with what you've built so far? Are you proud of the choices you've made? If you are, that's incredible. Keep going. But if you're not, then today is your wake-up call. Because your future self is looking at you, hoping, praying that you make the right decision. Think about it. Imagine yourself 1 year from now. You're standing in front of a mirror, looking at the person you've become. What do you see? Do you see someone who took action? Someone who fought through the doubt? Someone who refused to let fear control them? Or do you see someone who wasted another year making excuses? Someone who let another 365 days pass by without changing a thing? That's a hard question, but you need to ask yourself. Because the way you live today is shaping the person you become tomorrow. The actions you take today are building your future. And if you do nothing, your future will be exactly the same as your present. This is where most people get stuck. They dream about a better life, but they never act. And years later, they find themselves trapped in the same cycle, wondering why nothing ever changed. The truth? It didn't change because they didn't change. They kept waiting for the right moment that never came. So I'll tell you the secret right now. The right moment is the moment you decide to start. That's it. The second you say, I'm done making excuses, I'm taking action right now, your life begins to change. Because movement creates momentum. Even the smallest step forward is better than standing still. You don't have to know everything to begin. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just need to take the first step. The gym might feel intimidating, but if you show up today, you're already ahead of the person who stayed home. That business idea might feel overwhelming, but if you start researching, making calls, taking small steps, you're already in motion. Successful people aren't born with some secret formula. They just start. They feel the same fear, the same doubts, the same hesitation, but they don't let it stop them, because they know that starting is the hardest part. Once you take that first step, everything else becomes easier. And here's the part nobody tells you. When you start, something incredible happens. You gain confidence. You stop overthinking. You realize you are capable. You realize that the fear holding you back was just an illusion. And then you start pushing harder, working smarter. And before you know it, you're doing things you never thought possible. But none of that happens if you keep waiting. If you keep telling yourself one day, you're choosing to stay exactly where you are. And I know that's not what you want. You wouldn't be here if you were satisfied with where you are. You wouldn't be listening to this if you didn't want more. So the only question that matters is this. Are you going to look back a year from now and wish you had started? Or are you going to start today and thank yourself later? You can make excuses, or you can make progress. But you can't do both. The clock is ticking, and your future is waiting. So stop waiting. Stop hesitating. Make today your day one, because your future self is begging you to start now. Number 2. Your dreams won't wait forever. Why are you? There is something inside you that won't go away. A thought, an idea, a vision of the life you could be living. You've imagined it so many times. You've seen yourself in that position, felt what it would be like, tasted the success, the freedom, the happiness, and yet you're still here, waiting. But let me tell you something. Your dreams won't wait forever. Every single day you hesitate. Every moment you let pass without taking action, you are pushing your dreams further away. Time doesn't stop. It doesn't slow down because you're unsure. It doesn't wait for you to feel ready. It keeps moving, whether you act or not. And one day you'll wake up and realize that the opportunity you once had is gone. Not because you weren't capable, not because you weren't good enough, but because you waited too long. Think about all the people who once had big dreams but never acted on them. They were full of ideas, full of energy, full of hope. And then what happened? Life happened. Distractions, doubts, responsibilities. And suddenly, their dreams were no longer a priority. They told themselves, I'll start next year, but next year turned into 5 years, then 10. And before they knew it, they were left with nothing but regret. You don't want that. You don't want to wake up one day realizing that you could have done more, that you could have been more. And if you don't take control right now, that's exactly what's going to happen. But let's be real. The reason most people don't chase their dreams isn't because they don't want to. It's because they're scared. Scared of failing. Scared of looking foolish. Scared of what others might think. But let me ask you this. What's worse? Failing and learning, or never trying and living with regret? Because at least if you try, you have a chance. But if you wait, you guarantee nothing changes. Fear is the biggest thief of success. It convinces you to wait for the right time, the perfect conditions, the moment when everything lines up. But that moment doesn't exist. The people who succeed aren't the ones who had everything figured out from the start. They are the ones who started before they felt ready. They took the first step, even when they were unsure. And step by step, they built their dreams. Now I want you to think about something. If you had started 5 years ago, where would you be today? If you had committed to your goals back then, put in the effort, stayed disciplined, how different would your life look right now? And more importantly, how different could your life look 5 years from now? If you start today, because that's the reality. Every single thing you do today is shaping your future. You are not just going through the motions. You are either moving closer to your dreams or further away from them. And if you're not actively building the life you want, then you are passively accepting the life you don't. And don't fall into the trap of thinking you need massive action to make progress. Small, consistent steps are more powerful than waiting for the perfect time to make a big move. Write 1 page today, and soon you have a book. Save a little money every day, and soon you have an investment. Work on your skills every morning, and soon you are ahead of everyone who didn't. Your dreams don't care about your fears. They don't care about your doubts. They are waiting for you to make a decision. Not tomorrow, not next week, but right now. Because time doesn't stop. Life doesn't slow down just because you're unsure. And if you keep hesitating, one day you'll realize that you waited too long. You owe it to yourself to try. You owe it to the future version of yourself, who is depending on you to make the right choices today. You don't want to be the person who looks back and wonders, what if? You want to be the person who looks back and says, I'm so glad I started. So the question is simple. Are you going to keep waiting? Or are you going to take control of your life and start today? Because your dreams won't wait forever. And deep down, you know you don't want to wait either. Number 3, every successful person had a day one. Make this yours. Every successful person you admire had a moment in their life when they were just like you. They had dreams, ambitions, and desires, but they hadn't started yet. There was a time when they were unknown, when no one believed in them, when they had no results to show. But instead of waiting for the perfect moment, instead of letting doubt keep them stuck, they made a decision. They chose to start. And that decision changed their life forever. This is what separates those who succeed from those who don't. Not talent, not luck, not circumstances, but the decision to begin. Every successful person had a day one, a day when they stopped making excuses, stopped delaying, and finally took action. That day became the foundation of everything they built. And the question is, when will your day one be? Most people live their entire lives, waiting for the right time, the right opportunity, the right feeling. They tell themselves, one day, I'll start. One day I'll chase my dreams. One day I'll take that step. But one day never comes, because waiting never gets you anywhere. There are two types of people in life, those who take action and those who make excuses. And the difference between them isn't intelligence or resources, it's mindset. The people who take action understand something powerful. Nothing happens until you start. No amount of thinking, planning, or wishing will change your life. Only action will. Think about this. Every person who built a successful business had a first day when they had 0 customers. Every athlete who became great had a first day when they weren't skilled yet. Every author who wrote a bestseller had a first day when they faced a blank page. There was a time when they were struggling, doubting themselves, feeling lost. But they still took the first step. And that's what made the difference. And here's the truth. You already know what you need to do. You know what steps you should take. The problem isn't knowledge. The problem is fear. Fear of failure. Fear of not being good enough. Fear of what others might think. And that fear convinces you to delay, to postpone, to wait for a better time. But there is no better time. There is only now. You might think, I'm not ready, but no one is ever fully ready. Readiness comes through action. You might think, I don't have everything figured out, but no one does in the beginning. Clarity comes through action. You might think, I'm afraid of failing, but failure is a part of the process. Growth comes through action. And that's what you need to understand. The only way to become ready, to gain clarity, to overcome fear, is to start, to take that first step, even if it's small, even if it's messy, even if it's uncomfortable. Because the longer you wait, the harder it gets. The longer you delay, the more doubt grows. Success doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't come from one big leap. It comes from small, consistent actions taken over time. And that starts with one decision. The decision to begin. Imagine this 1 year from now, you could be looking back at today as the day that changed everything. The day you finally took control. The day you started building something meaningful. But if you don't take action, 1 year from now, you'll still be in the same place, wishing you had started. So the question is, what will it be? One day or day one? Will you keep waiting or will you start now? Because the truth is, your future is in your hands. Your dreams are possible. Your goals are within reach. But only if you decide to take action. Only if you choose to make today your day one. This is your moment. This is your time. Make it count. Number 4, you already know what to do. Now do it. You don't need another book, another seminar, or another motivational talk to tell you what to do. You already know. Deep down, you already know exactly what steps to take. You know what's holding you back. You know what needs to change. You don't need more information. You need action. Because all the knowledge in the world is useless if you don't apply it. Think about it. How many times have you told yourself, I should start waking up earlier, or I should take better care of my health, or I should finally work on that dream I've been putting off? How many times have you had the answer sitting right in front of you, yet you hesitated, delayed, and made excuses? You don't need anyone to tell you what your next step is. You've known it for a long time, but knowing is not enough. The biggest trap people fall into is thinking that understanding something is the same as doing it. But there's a world of difference between knowing what to do and actually doing it. You can read all the books on discipline, but until you start applying discipline, your life won't change. You can watch all the videos on success, But until you start taking action, nothing will be different. Knowledge is only potential power. Action is what brings results. Most people don't lack knowledge. They lack action. They think they need more preparation, more time, more confidence. But let me tell you something, you will never feel completely ready, and you don't need to. Readiness comes from taking the first step, from getting into motion, from doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it. The truth is, if you don't take action now, you probably never will. Because the longer you wait, the more your excuses grow. The longer you delay, the harder it gets. And before you know it, years go by and you're still stuck in the same place. Still telling yourself you'll start someday. But someday is not a real day. It's an illusion that keeps you trapped. You have to break the cycle. You have to stop waiting for motivation, for permission, for the perfect moment. The perfect moment will never come. But this moment right now is as good as any. And all it takes is a decision. The decision to act, to move, to do something. Because once you start, everything changes. Action creates momentum. And momentum makes everything easier. The hardest part is always getting started. But once you do, you'll feel a shift. You'll feel a sense of progress. You'll feel alive again. And that feeling is what keeps you going. The most successful people aren't the ones who always feel motivated. They are the ones who take action even when they don't feel like it. They are the ones who push through fear, doubt, and uncertainty. They are the ones who refuse to let excuses control them. And that's what you must do. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to start, because action leads to progress. And progress leads to confidence. Every small step you take builds your belief in yourself. And before you know it, you've transformed your entire life. Not because you waited for the perfect moment, but because you made the moment perfect by taking action. So ask yourself, what have you been putting off? What is the one thing you know you should do but haven't done yet? Whatever it is, do it today, not tomorrow, not next week, today. Because the longer you wait, the further your dreams slip away. But if you start now, if you take that first step, you put yourself on a path that can change everything. You already know what to do. Now do it. Number 5. Nothing will ever be perfect. Start anyway. If you're waiting for everything to be perfect before you start, let me stop you right there. It's never going to happen. Perfection is a trap, a lie, a myth that keeps you stuck in place, waiting for a moment that will never come. The truth is, if you keep waiting for everything to line up just right, you'll never move forward. Look, I know how easy it is to get caught up in the idea of perfection. We've all been there. You wait for the right time, the right conditions, the right opportunity. You tell yourself that once you have the perfect plan, the perfect resources, or the perfect mindset, that's when you'll take action. But here's the harsh reality. Perfect doesn't exist. It's a moving target. The more you chase it, the further it gets. You're not going to have everything figured out. You're not going to have all the answers. And that's okay. In fact, that's normal. Every successful person who has ever achieved something remarkable started without knowing exactly how it was going to play out. They didn't have all the pieces, and they didn't wait for the perfect moment. They took action, even when things weren't perfect. And that's what you need to do too. You have to stop letting perfection hold you back. It's keeping you trapped in analysis paralysis, constantly overthinking and constantly wondering if you're making the right choice. The more you wait, the more time you waste, and the more you hold yourself back from reaching your potential. If you keep waiting for the perfect moment, you'll wake up one day and realize that all those moments have passed you by. Starting, even if things aren't perfect, is what gives you the momentum to move forward. When you start, you'll learn things you couldn't learn any other way. You'll make mistakes. Yes, you'll face challenges. Absolutely. But that's part of the process. The mistakes are not failures. They're lessons. The challenges aren't setbacks. They're opportunities for growth. Perfection isn't the goal. Progress is. It's time to let go of the idea that everything needs to be flawless before you take the first step. Waiting for perfection is just an excuse, a way to procrastinate, a way to avoid the discomfort of taking action. The reality is that the discomfort you're avoiding now will only get bigger and harder to face the longer you delay. Starting now, imperfect as it may be, is what will get you closer to where you want to be. When you take that first step, you might not know exactly where you're going, but that's okay. You don't have to have it all figured out. The key is to start moving. When you start moving, things begin to fall into place. The pieces start to come together. But if you never move, nothing ever changes. You stay stuck in the same place, waiting for something that will never come. Think about it. Have you ever waited for everything to be perfect, only to find that when you finally felt ready, you were too far behind to catch up? That's what happens when you let perfection stop you from starting. You waste time and the clock keeps ticking. Life keeps moving forward. Whether you're ready or not, perfection is a fantasy. It's the illusion that you can avoid mistakes and missteps. But mistakes are how you learn. Missteps are how you grow. Perfection is what keeps you from starting. And progress is what will get you closer to your dreams. No matter how much you plan, no matter how much you prepare, there's always going to be something unexpected. There's always going to be a curveball, a challenge, a roadblock. But if you're waiting for the perfect time to start, you're setting yourself up for failure from the beginning. The perfect time never comes. The perfect plan never works out exactly as you imagined. And that's okay. That's life. What matters is that you start. I know it's scary. I know it's intimidating. But let me tell you this, the hardest part isn't taking the first step. It's the thought of it. It's the fear that holds you back from even trying. But once you make the decision to take action, once you start moving, you'll find that it's not as hard as you thought. Nothing will ever be perfect. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't start. The best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is now. You'll never have all the answers, but that's what makes the journey exciting. It's the uncertainty that keeps you on your toes, that pushes you to adapt, to grow, and to become stronger than you ever imagined. Don't wait for everything to be perfect. Don't let that fear of imperfection stop you from taking action. Because the longer you wait, the longer you deny yourself the opportunity to grow, to improve, and to create the life you want. You'll never get to your destination if you never take that first step. So start now. Start imperfectly. Start messy. Start unsure. But start. You've got what it takes to make it happen. You don't need everything to be perfect. You just need to take action. And when you do, you'll be amazed at what you can achieve. Number 6. Tomorrow is a trap. Win today. Tomorrow is not your savior. In fact, it's the very thing holding you back. We all fall for the illusion that tomorrow is when we'll start. Tomorrow is when everything will fall into place, and tomorrow is when the magic happens. But let's face it, tomorrow is nothing more than a trap, a well-constructed lie we tell ourselves to justify putting things off today. And let me tell you, it's a dangerous game to play. The more you live in tomorrow, the further you drift from your goals, and the more you rob yourself of the opportunities that are right in front of you today. We've all done it. We promise ourselves that we'll do it tomorrow, whether it's a new goal, a new project, or making a change in our lives. We tell ourselves we'll start after the weekend, after the holiday, after we get past this busy phase in our life. And here's the thing, tomorrow never comes. Tomorrow is always just a day away, always a bit out of reach, always a little too far to catch. And you're left stuck in the same place, in the same cycle, year after year, month after month, day after day. If you keep waiting for tomorrow, you'll never win today. Winning today is where real progress happens. It's not in the empty promises you make to yourself about what you'll do tomorrow, next week, or next year. Progress doesn't happen when you push things down the road. It happens when you take action. Right now, right in this moment. Whatever it is that you're putting off, stop waiting for the right time. Start now. You may not have all the pieces. You may not have all the answers. But the key to success is starting, even if it's messy, even if it's imperfect. If you keep waiting for everything to be perfect before you start, you'll spend your life stuck in the what if and maybe mindset. There's a dangerous comfort in thinking that tomorrow is always the day you'll change. It feels safe, doesn't it? We can push things off, tell ourselves that it's not the right time yet, and stay in our comfort zone just a little longer. But here's the truth. You can't win tomorrow. You can only win today, and what you do today builds the foundation for the life you want tomorrow. You can't keep saying tomorrow and expect to see real results. Nothing will change unless you change today. Think about it for a second. What have you been putting off for tomorrow? Is it starting that workout routine, writing that book, or making that tough phone call? What's the one thing you've been saying you'll do tomorrow? Now ask yourself, why not today? What's stopping you from taking that step right now in this very moment? The truth is, the longer you wait, the longer you delay your own success. It's so easy to get stuck in the cycle of procrastination. We've all been there. It feels like we're doing something by thinking about what we're going to do. But here's the truth. Thinking about it doesn't get it done. Talking about it doesn't get it done. Planning for it doesn't get it done. Doing it gets it done. Action is what separates those who win from those who keep wishing for a better future. Time is your most valuable resource, and every day you put things off is a day you'll never get back. We've all heard the saying, time flies, but when we're stuck in the tomorrow trap, it feels like time is slipping through our fingers. We all think we have more time, but the truth is, you don't. Time doesn't wait for anyone. The years go by, and suddenly, you look back and realize you've wasted so much of it on waiting for the right moment, on waiting for tomorrow. But tomorrow doesn't exist. It's just another day that's constantly out of reach. Winning today is about taking responsibility for your actions. It's about understanding that you control what happens today. You have the power to make progress, to move forward, to create the life you want. But you can't do that if you keep waiting. You can't do that if you keep pushing everything off. Every day that you wait for tomorrow is a day you could have used to get closer to your dreams. Now I know it's not always easy. We all face distractions, obstacles, and setbacks. But that's part of the process. The key to winning today is to embrace the mess, the mistakes, the failures, and the challenges. They're all part of the journey. Success doesn't happen in a straight line. It's messy, it's difficult, and it's full of bumps along the way. But if you keep moving forward, if you keep taking action, you'll start seeing results. But none of that happens if you keep telling yourself that tomorrow is when you'll start. Every small action you take today matters. Even if it's just one small step, one small win, it counts. It compounds over time. If you're waiting for tomorrow to start, you're missing out on all the power of today. Don't let another day pass by without making progress. Don't let another moment go to waste. You have the power to change your life right now. You have the ability to make today the day you win. It's time to stop making excuses. It's time to stop waiting. It's time to stop letting tomorrow steal your future. Start today and start small. Don't try to do everything all at once. Don't try to have it all figured out. Just take one step, then take another, then take another. Each step gets you closer to the life you want. But you can't take those steps if you keep waiting for tomorrow to come. The only time you can win is now. The only time you can take action is now. Tomorrow is not guaranteed, but today is. Don't let today slip away. Don't let it be another day. You'll do it tomorrow. Make today the day that changes everything for you. Tomorrow is a trap, but today is your opportunity. Don't waste it. Take action now and start winning today. Number 7, one small action today is worth more than 1,000 plans for tomorrow. The truth is simple. Action is the only thing that truly matters. All the plans, the ideas, the hopes for tomorrow, they mean nothing if they stay in your head. It's the small, consistent actions you take today that build the future you dream of. It's so easy to get lost in the planning phase. We tell ourselves we'll start tomorrow, that tomorrow is when things will finally fall into place. But here's the catch. Tomorrow never comes. You keep telling yourself, tomorrow I'll start, but tomorrow is just another day that slips away. And all you're left with is empty promises to yourself. It's time to get real about what you want and take one small step today. You don't need to know everything or have it all figured out. You just need to take action. One tiny step. The kind of action that feels small at first, but will compound into something much bigger if you stick with it. One email, one phone call, one walk, one page written, one moment of clarity. You see, those small actions are what push you forward. They create momentum, and that momentum, that force, is what will carry you to the success you want. It's not about having the perfect plan or waiting for the ideal moment. It's about getting started and keeping going, no matter how small that first step may seem. I can't tell you how many people get stuck in the planning stage. They have the best intentions. They have the vision, they have the dream, they have all the resources lined up, but they don't take that first step. They tell themselves, tomorrow I'll start. I need to get this ready first. Or I need to be in the right mood, or I need to figure out the exact plan before I go for it. The problem is they're stuck in an endless cycle of preparation, waiting, and procrastination. And before they know it, Months, years, and sometimes decades go by, and they realize they've made no progress at all. The reality is this: you don't need to wait for the perfect moment to take action. You don't need to have everything lined up perfectly. The truth is, you'll never have everything figured out. You'll never have the perfect conditions to start. And that's okay. What matters is that you take one small action right now. The smallest step forward will always be better than sitting around waiting for everything to align perfectly. Perfection will never come if you keep waiting for it. But progress happens when you take action. No matter how small it seems at the time. Think about it. When you start taking small steps, the fear starts to fade. The unknown becomes less intimidating. And before you know it, those small steps turn into big strides. You start building confidence because you've proven to yourself that you can take action, even when things aren't perfect. That's how momentum builds. Every action you take today is a seed planted for tomorrow. You can't wait for everything to be perfect, because perfection is a moving target. But you can always take that next step, and that's how you move forward. Here's the kicker. If you keep planning and never take action, all you have is a bunch of plans, nothing more. But if you start taking action, even if it's just a small action, you start making real progress. Small actions accumulate over time. They compound, they build on each other, and eventually those small actions lead to bigger, more impactful changes. It's the compound effect. The small steps you take today, repeated consistently, lead to massive results over time. One email today could lead to a business partnership tomorrow. One small workout today could lead to the body you've always wanted. One small step in learning today could lead to the career you've been dreaming of. The truth is, small actions add up. And if you keep waiting for the perfect moment, or for everything to fall into place, you'll keep wasting time. Time you can't get back. You can't waste time thinking that tomorrow is the day to start. Tomorrow isn't promised. All you have is today. And today is where the real magic happens. People who succeed aren't special. They don't have some magic formula for success that you don't have access to. What they do differently is they take action. They make the decision to start, no matter how imperfect the conditions are, and they keep going, even when things aren't perfect, even when the road gets tough, because they understand that taking action today, even in the smallest form, is better than waiting for a day that may never come. It's not about having the most elaborate plans or the most expensive tools. It's about getting started and making progress. Every single day, the actions you take today are what will shape your tomorrow. The choice is simple. You can either keep waiting for the perfect moment that will never come, or you can take action today. One small action. That's all it takes to get started. The more you delay, the more time you waste. And the more time you waste, the further you get from the life you want to create. But if you commit to taking action today, no matter how small, you'll start making progress toward your goals. And before you know it, those small actions will have led you to the success you've been dreaming of. It's time to stop waiting for tomorrow. It's time to take that first step today. It doesn't have to be big, and it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be something that moves you forward. One small action today is worth more than 1,000 plans for tomorrow. So what are you waiting for? Take that step, no matter how small, and start creating the life you've been dreaming of. Because today is the day that counts. Number 8, people who succeed are not special. They just started when others didn't. Success is not reserved for a special group of people. It's not a matter of talent, extraordinary gifts, or some mystical advantage that a few fortunate individuals have. What separates those who succeed from those who don't isn't some hidden secret. The truth is much simpler than that. The difference is that successful people start when others are waiting for the right moment. They don't wait for the perfect opportunity, the perfect timing, or for all the stars to align. They start now, and that's the difference that leads to success. So many people make excuses. They say they'll start when things get easier, when they have more time, when they have more money, when the conditions are just right. But here's the thing. Things will never be perfect. If you keep waiting for everything to be in place before you take action, you'll be waiting forever. The world doesn't wait for you to be ready. And time, that precious resource, keeps ticking away whether you take action or not. Every day you spend waiting for tomorrow is a day you could have used to make progress, no matter how small. When you look at people who have made it, who have built successful businesses, careers, or lives, they weren't necessarily born with some incredible talent or advantage. What they had was a willingness to start. They took the first step when others were still thinking about it. They didn't wait for the perfect moment because they understood that the perfect moment doesn't exist. They knew that if they wanted to make something happen, they had to make it happen right, and that's where most people go wrong. They wait, they hesitate, they sit back, and they make excuses. They think there will be a better time, a better place, or a better way. But in the end, those who succeed are the ones who refuse to wait. It's so easy to get caught in the trap of overthinking, isn't it? We all want to make the best decision. We want to make sure we have everything figured out before we take action. But here's the cold, hard truth. Waiting for the perfect plan is a mistake. The people who succeed are the ones who stop planning and start doing. They're the ones who understand that it's not about getting everything right the first time. It's about getting started, learning as you go and adjusting along the way. They understand that success doesn't come from perfection. It comes from persistence. The truth is, no one has all the answers. No one knows exactly how things are going to turn out. Even the most successful people in the world didn't have it all figured out when they began. But they made a decision to begin. They didn't sit back and wait for the world to hand them an opportunity. They took action in the face of uncertainty. They moved forward when everyone else was standing still. And that's what made the difference. They didn't wait for someone to give them permission. They didn't wait until everything was perfect. They started with what they had. And that's all you need to do too. You might look at the successful people around you and think, they must have had something special. But the truth is, they just started. And you can do the same. There is no magic key to success. There is no secret formula. There's only one thing that makes success possible: action. And the sooner you take action, the sooner you'll start seeing results. You don't need to have all the details worked out. You don't need to know every step of the journey. You just need to take the first step. The rest will follow. When you start now, when you take that first step, you're already ahead of the game. While others are still waiting for the right time, you're out there making things happen. While others are looking for the perfect plan, you're learning from real-world experience. And that experience is what will shape your future. Success isn't built by sitting on the sidelines. It's built by jumping in, taking risks, and being willing to learn from the failures along the way. Those who succeed didn't avoid failure. They embraced it. They knew that every failure was a lesson, a chance to grow, and a step closer to their ultimate goal. In the end, success isn't about being the smartest, the most talented, or the luckiest. It's about taking action when others won't. It's about getting up when others stay down, showing up when others stay home, and taking risks when others play it safe. Success isn't reserved for the few. It's available to anyone who is willing to take the first step, no matter how small it may seem. And if you take that first step today, you're already on your way. While others are still waiting for the perfect moment, you're out there making progress, learning and growing. And that's what sets you apart. So stop waiting. Stop making excuses. Stop telling yourself that the time isn't right. The time is always right. The only thing that matters is that you take that first step. Get started, no matter what. That's what the successful people did. And that's what you can do too. The moment you decide to take action is the moment you put yourself on the path to success. And the longer you wait, the more time you waste. The clock is ticking. Your future won't wait forever, but it can start today. Take that first step and watch how everything changes. Number 9, fear will keep you stuck. Courage will move you forward. Fear is the one thing that can hold you back more than anything else. It's the invisible force that whispers in your ear, telling you to play it safe, to stay where it's comfortable, to avoid the unknown. Fear makes everything seem uncertain. It magnifies every risk, every potential mistake, and turns them into mountains too high to climb. But here's the truth. Fear doesn't have any real power unless you give it that power. And the only way to break free from it, to push past it and move forward, is with courage. Now, I know you've heard people talk about courage before. It's often glamorized as something reserved for heroes or extraordinary people. But the reality is, courage isn't something you're born with, and it's not reserved for a select few. Courage is simply the decision to take action, despite the fear you feel. It's the willingness to step into the unknown, to face the things that scare you, and still keep going. Courage is the act of moving forward, not because the path is clear, but because you trust that the path will reveal itself as you move. It's so easy to get stuck in the cycle of fear. You know that feeling. You have a dream, a desire, something you want to achieve, but the fear of failure, rejection, or just the unknown paralyzes you. You stay where you are because it feels safer. You convince yourself that waiting until the perfect time will make everything easier. But the truth is, waiting doesn't make it easier. It just keeps you stuck in place, watching the time pass by. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes to take that first step. Fear is a trap that keeps you in the same place, and the longer you stay there, the harder it becomes to break free. The irony is, the things you fear most are often the very things that can lead you to your greatest success. The fear of failure, the fear of what others might think, the fear of stepping out of your comfort zone. They're all just stories you've told yourself. These fears are based on what could happen, not what will happen. But that's the thing about fear. It exaggerates things. It paints a picture of worst-case scenarios and keeps you from seeing the bigger picture. The reality is, most of the things you fear never come to pass. And even when they do, they don't have the power to stop you unless you allow them to. Courage doesn't mean the absence of fear. It means feeling the fear and deciding to act anyway. It's understanding that fear is a natural part of the process, but it doesn't have to control your actions. When you act despite the fear, you're telling yourself that your dreams, your goals, and your future are more important than the temporary discomfort you feel. You're telling yourself that you're willing to fight for what you want, no matter how hard it might seem in the moment. And it's not just about big leaps of courage. It's also about those small everyday moments where you choose to move forward instead of staying stuck. It's about the moments when you feel the fear and still decide to take one small step in the direction of your dreams. Maybe it's making that first phone call, signing up for that course, or sending that email. Maybe it's deciding to wake up early and get to work when your mind is telling you to hit snooze. Every single act of courage, no matter how small, builds up and propels you forward. And the more you do it, the easier it becomes. The more you act with courage, the more you build your resilience. You start to realize that fear doesn't have to stop you. You start to understand that fear is just a feeling, and feelings don't have to control your actions. Courage is like a muscle. It gets stronger the more you use it. The more you face your fears and move forward anyway, the less power those fears have over you. And over time, what once seemed like an insurmountable obstacle will become just another challenge you know you can overcome. But here's something that's even more powerful. Courage doesn't just move you forward, it inspires others to do the same. When you show up, when you face your fears, when you take action despite the discomfort, you become a beacon of possibility for others. You become the proof that it's possible to move past fear and create something amazing. You show others that it's okay to be afraid, but it's also okay to move forward anyway. And that's how a ripple effect of courage can start. You take that first step, and suddenly others are inspired to do the same. Your courage becomes contagious. One of the hardest things is to admit to yourself that fear is holding you back. It's easy to blame external circumstances. You might tell yourself that it's the economy, your circumstances, your upbringing, or the people around you that are preventing you from moving forward. But the truth is, fear is the root cause of your inaction. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of the unknown. It's all just fear, and until you face it head on, until you take action despite it, it will continue to control your life. But here's the best part. You don't have to wait for fear to go away. You don't have to wait until you feel confident, until you feel ready. You don't have to wait for the fear to disappear before you take action. In fact, you'll probably never feel completely fearless, and that's okay. The key is to take action in the face of fear. The more you do it, the more you build your courage, and the less power fear has over you. Fear will always be there, but it doesn't have to stop you. And let's not forget this. Every time you face your fear and take action, you grow. You become stronger, more resilient, and more capable of handling whatever life throws your way. The more you do it, the more you prove to yourself that you are capable of achieving great things despite the fear. Courage isn't something you're born with. It's something you develop over time, through consistent action and through facing the things that scare you. So if fear is keeping you stuck right now, know this: courage is the key to unlocking your future. It's the key to breaking free from the chains that hold you in place. And the only way to find that courage is to take action, step by step, even when it feels uncomfortable. Fear will always try to keep you stuck, but courage will always move you forward. And when you make the choice to act with courage, you're choosing to create the life you truly want. So don't let fear dictate your future. Step forward, take action, and watch how your life begins to change. Number 10, one day or day one, the choice is yours. There's a decision that every single one of us faces. It's a choice that defines everything: your future, your success, your growth, and your happiness. And yet so many people don't even realize that they're making this choice every single day. This is a choice that you get to make right now, in this moment. It's a choice between two paths, one day or day one. And the truth is, the only one that leads to the life you want is the choice of day one. It's the choice to stop waiting for the perfect moment, to stop thinking that the right time will magically appear, and to stop convincing yourself that you can just start tomorrow. It's the choice to begin today, right now. You see, when you say one day, what you're really saying is not today. You're pushing your dreams, your goals, and your potential into the future. You're putting them off until some magical moment in time when the stars align and everything is. The problem is, that moment never comes. It's always just out of reach. One day never arrives. The longer you wait for that perfect time, the longer you delay your success. You are actively choosing to stay stuck, and every single day that passes, you lose a little more of your potential. One day is a trap, a way of telling yourself that there's no urgency, that there's no need to take action now. But think about it. What would happen if you made today one? What if you decided that now is the time to take action? What if you stopped waiting for everything to be perfect and just took that first step? No matter how small it may seem, imagine how much closer you'd be to your dreams just by making that choice today. When you make today one, you take the first step, and that first step leads to the second and the third. And before you know it, you've built momentum. You've created a snowball effect that keeps growing and growing. You've put yourself on the path to success. And each day you'll find yourself getting closer to your goals. The truth is, most people who achieve great things are not extraordinary. They're not superhuman, and they don't have some kind of magic that makes their journey easier. The difference between them and everyone else is that they made day one today. They didn't wait for the right time, the right conditions, or the right amount of knowledge. They just started. And along the way, they learned, they grew, and they adapted. But the key was always the same. They started. They made that choice to begin. You might be thinking, but I don't know enough yet. I'm not ready. I need more time, more information, more resources. That's just fear talking. That's the voice of doubt and uncertainty, trying to keep you in your comfort zone, trying to convince you that you don't have what it takes. But here's the secret. You don't need everything to be perfect. You don't need to know every step, every detail, every outcome. What you need is to start. You need to take that first step, and you'll figure out the rest along the way. Look at anyone who's ever succeeded in life. They didn't wait for everything to be perfectly lined up. They didn't wait until they felt completely prepared. They didn't wait until they had all the answers. They started, and by starting, they gave themselves the opportunity to learn and grow. They gave themselves the opportunity to fail and rise back up. They gave themselves the chance to make mistakes, adjust, and keep moving forward. They chose day one. Now, I know it's easy to get caught up in the idea that you need to have a perfect plan, a perfect situation, and a perfect environment to begin. But that's just a myth. Perfection doesn't exist. The perfect time will never come. And the longer you wait, the more time you waste. The more opportunities you miss, the more chances slip through your fingers. Every day you say one day, you're giving away a piece of your potential. But when you make today one, you take control of your future. You stop waiting for the world to give you permission to start. You take responsibility for your life, and you begin building the future you want, one step at a time. It's not about waiting for the stars to align, for everything to be perfect. It's about making today count. It's about choosing to act, even if you're not 100% ready. It's about realizing that every small step you take is progress, and that progress adds up over time. You don't need to have all the answers today. You don't need to know exactly where the journey will take you. But if you make today one, you'll be surprised at how much you can accomplish. You'll be amazed at how far you can go. You'll look back and wonder why you ever waited for one day. The beauty of day one is that it's full of possibility. It's full of potential. When you make today the first day of your journey, you open yourself up to a world of opportunities. You stop limiting yourself with excuses, with fear, with self-doubt. You stop saying I can't and start saying I will. You take that first step and the path will begin to unfold in front of you. Every step you take, no matter how small, brings you closer to your destination. And the best part, you don't have to do it alone. There are millions of people who are choosing day one every day. There's a community of people out there, just like you, who are fighting their fears, taking action, and building their dreams. You don't have to wait for the right moment to start. You don't have to wait for permission. The only thing you need is the courage to take that first step, to make today your day one. The choice is yours. You can keep waiting for one day, or you can make today day one. It's not going to be easy. It's going to take hard work, perseverance, and sacrifice. But if you make the choice to start, no matter what, you'll be amazed at how far you can go. So choose day one, choose action, choose progress. The future is waiting for you, and it starts right now. Today, as we wrap up, remember this: waiting for the perfect moment is a trap. You don't need everything to be perfectly aligned to start. You just need to make the decision to begin. One day is never promised, but today is here, and it's yours to take. If you want something different, if you want a life that looks nothing like today, then stop waiting for one day and start with day one. Because you already know what to do. You've always known. All it takes is one small action today to put you on the path to a future you can be proud of. So what are you waiting for? Get up, take that step, and make this your day one. The future you want is built on what you do today, not what you'll do one day. Keep moving, keep growing, and remember, it all starts now. Make today count, because one day is never coming, but day one, this day, is right in front of you.